Sie hören Sport und Musik.
Das Spiel ist aus! Deutschland ist Weltmeister!
In a world where fans fight over whether to call it football, or soccer, two German men defy the odds and call it Fußball. Bringing you inside the German-American football experience. And now, here are your hosts, the Schnitzel Boys.
Whoa!
Hey!
Right,
Hit a little.
This was an older file, so it wasn't as long as an intro as we had before. We got a little early, but it's okay. Just unusual.
Hitting a little different today. It's nice. Good.
We are in, and I also don't know how to fade it out, so we're going to do this, and a one, and a two, and done with. Okay. That's our intro, Delio. Because our usual DJ sound man is not in his usual workstation.
That's right.
We have a little special sort of stories from the road edition of Schnitzel Boys this week.
Yes.
As Bjorn, you are on the road, right?
Yeah, I'm coming at you from New Orleans.
Norland.
Where and we drove yesterday. Was in Orlando for the game, and then drove a lot last night and today, and now I'm in New Orleans, and then onwards to Texas tomorrow.
So you were in Orlando yesterday?
Yes, for this.
That's a long drive, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. I mean, we're going cross country. I'm supervising my son's driving practice, and we have to be at the Grand Canyon on Thursday night. So it's a little bit of and because my friend invited us to come to Florida to watch this Orlando NYCFC game, and so then now this drive has become a little compressed. So there's a lot of driving and not a lot of hanging out. Although at your recommendation, we had a lunch today in Mobile, Alabama, which was very nice.
Isn't Mobile a nice town? It's like a mini New Orleans.
Yeah.
It's like a hidden little gem. For people who maybe don't know, Mobile, Alabama is a lovely little city. And if I'm not mistaken, it's tradition to have a lot of like inflatables in the front yard or something like that. I forgot what it was, but
I didn't notice that.
Oh, you know, that might have just been around Mardi Gras time. Like it's just because I think I was there around Mardi Gras time, and like in neighborhoods and around, they just had these giant like inflatables in their front yard as like their way of, it's like their version of parade floats or something. I mean, people who are more in the know are probably like kicking themselves right now, but like there's just a lot of cool stuff going on. And downtown Mobile is like a quaint little cute downtown, and it's a nice little city.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
A friend of a friend recommended it or something, and then she went to school somewhere around there. It was like an hour or two away, but on her weekend she would drive to Mobile because there was always something going on. Like Mobile was the place to go party.
Yeah, it was very cool. There was it was a great had a great lunch, walked around. I mean, it's Monday, so it's it's quiet, and same here. New Orleans is very, we're staying right in the French Quarter, and yeah, Monday night it's very calm. It's kind of amazing, like walking around, it's very very quiet. It's good night.
How hot is it there? It's probably really hot right now.
Oh, it's hot. Yeah. It's definitely hot.
But no, that's cool. But New Orleans is fun, right? Are you gonna walk around a little bit tomorrow? You guys sort of hitting straight the road?
A little bit. I think maybe I'll go walk around a little bit again when we're done here. But then, I don't know. We have a lot of driving to do tomorrow. We have to get all the way to Dallas actually, and beyond a little bit. So that's it's going to be a long because it's going to be a long day.
Which I told you last time, Dallas is a nice little sojourn for the American soccer nerd like me, because right outside of Dallas is Frisco, which has the U.S. Soccer Museum where FC Dallas plays.
I was looking into that, but they are not open on Tuesdays. So
right. Tuesday museums have random days they close. So I guess
so we couldn't. That's not to be on this trip.
But Dallas has another big nerd thing. Dallas also has a giant Star Wars store, which was recommended to me by a guy who sold knockoff Legos at a flea market in Florida once upon a time. in the flea markets, and a guy who sold what could not be called Legos, because there's like a bunch of third-party companies that make, because apparently
Oh.
the patent that invented original Legos or whatever is now public domain. So anybody with a 3D printer can just take a Lego design, just print a knockoff Lego. I don't want to go down that route, but he said, "You're in Dallas, go to Holocron. It's the biggest, best Star Wars toy store in the world." So I went, and he was not lying. It is, on the outset, it's not super gigantic. It's just like a store. It's got its own location. But you go inside, it's wall to wall Star Wars, new, old. They have a little like vintage case with the original Star Wars, because old school Star Wars toys are notoriously high in value.
Right.
And Star Wars was so popular that it was too popular for the toy company back in the day. So they did this infamous empty box campaign where in Christmas of like 76 or 77, kids would get this cardboard box and in it would be like, they would have coupons of toys to come at some point, like via a catalog.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The supply. So that was like the empty. So I remember there's like a commercial where it's like, you can get your coupon. It's always a box of pictures of the action figures that you're going to get at some point. And they have a bunch of those, which is like very high value item.
All right. How do you keep how do you keep these things in stock if you're a gigantic Star Wars store? They don't, like anything, they don't make this stuff anymore, right? Or
well, no, they do. No, they definitely Star Wars.
They do?
Star Wars has been printing Star Wars. Like they have like all I'm sure the Mandalorian. Like when I was there, the Mandalorian.
Oh, the more recent, right, more recent stuff, right?
I mean, they have everything vintage. And I remember when I was a kid in the '90s, there was a whole resurgence too. There was a bunch of like '90s toys. Like every year or two, they'll print some new toys. Star Wars toys are tales as old as time.
Maybe I'll stop by and get myself a life-size Werner Herzog. The
libation. God, I wish I could remember some of his lines that I spoke. To the spoils, go. No, to the winner, go the spoils.
Go the spoils.
Yeah. If anyone had a life-size Herzog, they do have a life-size. They do have like life-size Darth Vader, a life-size Kylo Ren. Like they've got life-size full things.
I bet. Yeah.
Werner Herzog might be a little too obscure, but they would have at least an officer's uniform or something. No, so that's my only Dallas tip. No, but that's cool, man. That's cool. I'm excited for you. But I also did myself a little road trip. You're in the middle of a big road trip. Last week, I took a little mini road trip down to San Diego to check out how Landon Donovan's bald spot is going, how much more receding it's going.
And
I'm joking. I did not go to San Diego.
What's the latest?
Well, the latest is it's pretty bald. It's not great. I'm not gonna lie. But then I took one step further and I went down to a Club Tijuana game. I went to a Liga MX game. Now I know it's a German American podcast, but if your boy Schnitzel goes down to Mexico and watches the game, he's got to do a little report. We
cast a wide net here.
Wide net. Always on it. So we have a couple of road stories for the week and reports, and then this is our special road edition of the Schnitzel Boys.
Yeah.
I guess we could talk. You want to just go into it? Let's talk. You were in Orlando, right? You were in that famous.
We were. Well, game. I watched 2 games this weekend. We were in my friend Anthony lives in Tampa, and so we went to see the Rowdies. He got good tickets to see the Tampa Bay Rowdies USL Championship. They were playing Orange County SC, and
from my neck of the woods.
They came all
I
the
need
way.
to make a trip to go check them out around here sometime too.
Yeah, I think and it seems like I really do not follow USL all that much. So, but apparently they had a big playoff game that Orange County won 3-1, and so this was a bit of a revenge thing, and it was cool. It's a beautiful stadium. It's right by the water. It has this sort of L shape. It's sort of oddly asymmetrically arranged, but there were people there. They were maybe I don't know. It holds. I read online. It holds 6,000 people, I believe, and it was definitely more than half full. It may have been like 3,500 people there, I would say, guessing, and people are into it. and it was a solid game. It was the Rowdies ended up winning 3-1. They were dominant in the first half, and then got a red card in the second, and Orange County scored, and then it was kind of a close game for a while, and then in the end, towards the end, the Rowdies scored again. I mean, the Rowdies are just, they're a holdover, right, from the very old NASL.
Tampa Bay Rowdies was one of the big teams back in the day. They always had a lot of they had a bunch of famous series against Pele. It was Rodney Marsh and the Tampa Bay Rowdies versus Pele and the New York Cosmos.
They were sort of the Washington Generals to the Harlem Globetrotters, right? That were the Cosmos. So
I think it was a little more even though, because I think Tampa Bay Rowdies beat them like 9-1.
No, they have a couple of stars on their jersey. I think they did win something, and but it's funny because a lot of the merch is still
throwbacks.
It's still throwbacks. I bought a T-shirt that said "Soccer is a kick in the grass."
Right, which is their old
slogan. They have their I think it's Ralph. There's this guy. Ralph Rowdy, who is on the T-shirt. They have this drawing of him, and he looks like he contorts himself, and he looks like he's afraid of the ball coming at him. He does this thing that no player has ever actually.
He gets rowdy, but Tampa Bay had an MLS team once upon a time.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, and the mutiny, the Tampa Bay mutiny, that people, I guess, MLS was encouraged. That this is an old school American soccer market, so they started an MLS team there, and they just contracted, right? 2000.
Well, there's a little bit more of a story to it. I actually don't know the specifics, but the owner of the Tampa Bay Rowdies was caught stealing money or something, or it was false, or it was a fraud or something. Something pretty crazy.
The Rowdies or the mutiny?
The mutiny.
The mutiny.
The mutiny. So they contracted, but because Miami. It was Tampa Bay and Miami. Tampa Bay is an original team, and Miami was like an expansion team that joined Chicago Fire in '98. And then in 2000, the Fusion. But they also kind of played in Fort Lauderdale, which is kind of where the current Miami team plays. They play in the same stadium, I think.
It seems to be how it goes.
Although the current Miami team is getting that stadium downtown, I think that's changed it up a little bit.
It will only take 10, 15 years or so.
20 maybe. We'll see. I mean, come on, anyways. I mean, how long did it take for us to get a stadium? You're still looking for your stadium. So some markets get stadiums fast, like LA. Some markets get stadiums real slow, like, who knows?
Yeah.
Like Miami and New York. But then in 2001, both the Florida teams contracted. And then forever, the Southeast didn't have MLS until Atlanta, maybe? No. Yeah, I think Atlanta started.
Yeah.
And then Orlando predates Atlanta.
Yeah,
Orlando was the
same
return.
Year. Orlando was the same as NYCFC. Yeah.
Oh right, yeah. Orlando and the new Florida franchises, especially Orlando, are in much better shape than what they were back in the day.
Yeah.
They have maybe better money supporting them and yada yada. Although I think Orlando is in the process of getting a new owner now too. But anyway, that's very cool. So let's talk real analysis. What was the concessions situation like? What kind of snacks were we talking? How much was beer? Was there beer?
I'm afraid to say I really failed in my journalistic duty in that regard. I did not. My friend brought us to this Mexican Cuban place right before in St. Pete. This was, their stadium's in St. Petersburg, Florida, which has become a very cool town. And so my friend knew a great spot, and so we had a good dinner before that. And so when I never left my seat. I can't even tell you what the
you'd like to think, especially a minor league game, that's like a beer is like maybe a couple bucks. Hopefully,
it was pretty. I think it was all pretty user friendly. Right. There were a lot of kids. We got to. I mean, the real shocker, I guess, to me was that we got to go on the field afterwards.
Just like, what do you mean go on the field? Storm the field or what?
Everybody gets to go on the field. They're like, all right, now there's game's over. We're gonna have fireworks.
Oh,
everybody
wow.
gets to go on the field. And
That is really good. You just sat down with blankets and let the fireworks show?
well, I mean, it didn't. We just were walking around. It didn't take all
Oh.
that. Although it was pretty. Although the fireworks were, were substantial and went on longer than some people in our group were would have liked.
You guys wanted to go home?
Who were ready to go. But
When you say you lit on the field, I imagine you walk on the field, go right up to the team locker rooms, and be like, "Hey, what's up, guys? What was going on with that one move?" Like you went straight to the players to like talk to them.
No, they make sure that the players all clear out. The players are all
Okay.
good. Which, by the way, but we did have good access because my friend got good tickets, and we were right by the player walkway. And Orange County has two former NYCFC players.
Yeah.
One is Tony Rocha, the other one is Sean Ugo Okoli. He dates back a few years. He was briefly a substitute number 9, and so
Did
both
they
of
come
them.
by to visit the CCL game, right? Or those
Yeah,
the
that's
same
right.
guys?
We saw them in the right, and so
You're
and I
stalking
have
those
I
guys.
had my NYCFC hat on, and so both, I sort of waved and yelled at both of them and got fist bumps, and yeah, it was definitely
that's nice.
it was very personable. It's a small, it's not a big. You can definitely get there, but then they clear out the players, and then everybody gets to go on the field. And I was like, oh, this must be turf, but it's not. It's a real grass field
Stadium.
that let everybody walk around on. I
Nice.
thought that was remarkable. That would not happen. That does not happen.
Hey, it's minor league soccer, baby.
Yeah.
That's how we do it right there. Cool.
So,
And then you went to go to a major league. That's minor league. You had a fun in Tampa Bay minor. But then it's like, let's go to the majors. Let's go watch a major league game.
Last night it was Orlando against NYCFC, and it was a torrential rainfall. Massive. And you know how it goes. We were in the visiting supporter section, which is always the worst seat in the house. Right. And there's a roof over a lot of the stadium, most of the stadium, except that corner did not have anything. And so people, and it really came down.
Sports cameras usually don't pick up rain, like they're built for it, but like it was heavy. Like you saw heavy rain on the cameras, which means it's extra heavy on the actual location. And was there? I saw the highlights. Did they pause the game at all, or was it?
They did not. They did not pause the game. It was kind of crazy. There was for a few minutes there in the first half, there were parts of the field where the ball really didn't travel. Like it would just kind of drop. And like a ball in a puddle of water would just kind of drop and just sit there, and then you would. So it was really a surreal experience, because we were also kind of running around looking for shelter. Then some people, my son included, decided it wasn't worth it, and they were just gonna tough it out in the rain. So a few people went back to their spots. We were, for a while, that rain was also horizontal, so even under the roof, we still got soaked, even though because it was really coming sideways for a little bit there. And so it was just a surreal situation of watching the game, also kind of navigating where to be, and
well, it seemed like there were plenty of available seats for you to go find some shelter. It seemed like there was plenty of space to move around.
It was not super packed. I was kind of surprised.
Orlando, that's been Orlando usually has great crowds, but this past year, I think it's related to the new ownership or something. Maybe their crowds have just died. People have I don't know if it's COVID or what, but it's looking New York Red Bulls.
It was definitely very, very, very sparsely attended. People are up for it, the people behind the goal, the standing section. They were definitely vibes. The drums were loud and all of that, but not a ton of people. Maybe people also knew that it was going to rain like that. I don't know.
Florida definitely has heavy rain, and during the summertime, essentially life in Florida is like hot, and then all of a sudden a huge rainstorm real quick. Sometimes it only lasts for 2 minutes, and then it moves on and right back to the sun again. It's just it's like rainstorm season kind of in Florida.
This was also, it was very intense for maybe a half an hour. And it's for a while, I mean, like the ball really wasn't moving, and it was like, they have to stop this game, but they did not. And then it was halftime, and then it kind of stopped, and then there were two hardworking employees with like these sort of giant squeegee things working the left side of the field, and I think did a good job, because the second I guess the field also probably drains well. I mean, this is a pretty recent stadium. So second half, everything was pretty much fine.
Right.
Although we did hear sort of afterwards from the NYCFC players, they were tired. They were saying how between the field being so heavy and the weather and like and I think you saw this happen, and it also, they confirmed that they were just pooped.
Right.
The last 15 minutes,
well, they almost had a point.
Yeah.
And then in extra stoppage time, right? It was like, how much stoppage time was there originally? 5 minutes, right? Or something?
It was supposed to be 5 minutes.
And then 6.5 minutes in.
It was like 6 now. I mean, it's I was more upset initially because it really felt like, from my watch, it felt like we were sort of 7 minutes in. But I think afterwards I rewatched it, and it was in the end it was like a minute and a half extra, but it was he I guess had the choice to call to let that final corner kick go or not. And I mean, obviously it's hard to stop.
He won it, and he got a winner right at the death, which is fun and
and that was it.
And fans, but it was heartbreaking for you.
Of course, for the home people, it was exciting. For us, it was very frustrating. I mean,
CFC have been dropping a few points as of late.
Yeah, we're not in a good way. I mean, I think we've been talking about that. It's I mean, there is there's the coaching change. There is and injuries are continue to mount. And things are getting thin. Thiago Martins is the latest victim. He went off on crutches early in the first half, and Alex Collins is already out. So Tavon Gray, usually plays right back, had to come in at center back, and Cushing was the coach. Cushing was asked if why Tavon Gray at center back, and he said, "Well, we have no one else," and that's pretty much it. And he actually did a great job. It has to be said. He played a very solid game, and there was not a lot that he did wrong. But yeah, it's just thin, and in the midfield, there's not a lot of depth anymore because of all the injuries. Santi Rodriguez, who's been our best player of late, was suspended for yellow cards, and so it was just thin. And and in the end, everybody was pooped, and that was it. We were really trying to hang on. I will say, the first half was just crazy with the rain, and we had two sort of VAR calls go against us. Chris Pencil showed a red card against an Orlando player that he took back, and the goal was initially ruled offside, and then was VAR.
Those are both two good calls, though. I saw.
I'm sure they are. I'm not saying I don't have any beef. It's just, if you're there as a fan, it's disappointing. It's disappointing when things go that way. And then, but then the team came out well in the second half and had the first 20 minutes really dominated, and not only got the equalizer, but really looked for a while as if we could maybe pull it out. But then things just the last. However many minutes, we were just tried to hang on. There was a lot of time wasting and a lot of trying to run out the clock, and it almost worked, but it did not. It didn't. In the end, it did not. And it's really the other thing that really is getting old, that we keep getting beaten by these, sort of second rate. No offense. I mean, I guess. It is.
You just said second rate. No offense. So what's the rest of that? Second rate what? Defenders?
I mean, there's just a lot of we're just getting scored on by a lot of sort of over the hill, like Tefo Akindele and Dump Dwyer and these guys or Corey Berg, all these people that I make fun of sometimes. Is these like pretty toothless attacking options.
You're probably bringing it on yourself.
I try. I'm gonna try.
They could play, man. They could play. They're there for a reason.
Not do that anymore. It's like, it's just a little bit like it's a little frustrating. Anyway,
the universe is telling you show more respect to the MLS fringe dudes. Show some respect. Respect.
I guess.
Well, that was right. And then you guys hopped in a car and immediately drove to New Orleans after that. In shame.
We only went to. We went to Tallahassee. We went to Tallahassee, Florida, which also was a pretty long drive. So you didn't get to bed until 3 a.m. It's all good. And
Okay, with Tallahassee. Tallahassee. There's not much to see in Tallahassee.
I mean, this was just
the hotel, right.
Yeah,
I know.
So
I went there. My friend went to college there, and I spent a couple days in Tallahassee. But it's not, there's so many different parts of Florida. Tallahassee, it's the capital. You got the big Capitol building.
Yeah. It's also
just a functional city, really.
It's a functional
city. It's Albany. Yeah, it's very. I went to. This is a really obscure thing, but like it really reminds. I went to school in Greensboro, North Carolina, and Tallahassee really reminds me of like Piedmont, North Carolina, like that area. Like a lot of the buildings are the same, the greenery is similar. Anyway, who cares about that?
Yeah,
very cool. So NYCFC dropped some points. New York Red Bulls had a great game over the weekend.
I heard.
Good. Again, New York Red Bulls are a little bit Jekyll and hiding right now, but when they put in a positive display, and they had it's been looking pretty positive. We finally got our shiny new number 9 from Grêmio in Brazil, Manuel, and he was he was in the States. He had his jersey on. I don't know if he was part of the roster. I think he was. He had like a training kit on. He didn't play, but maybe he'll start playing soon, and maybe we'll have another option up top that's not Patrick Limolo. But it's okay. We got guys like Caden Clark scoring, and John Tolkien, and our kid Daniel Edelman had a great goal, and just all our kids are just coming out of the woodwork. Daniel Edelman's having himself quite a season this year, and it's looking okay. NYCFC and New York Red Bulls are 3rd and 4th right now, respectively. So
are very close. And if we this long road trip, I think this is the end. We're going back to home on Wednesday, home in this case being Red Bull Arena again for hopefully the last time this year. And this road trip was a complete bust. It was like 6 games, 5 of which were on the road, and I thought before that stretch, I thought we needed like 9 or 10 points out of this to get to stay competitive in the East, and we got 4 actually. So that's not
4 is better than 0. That's all I can say.
4 is better than 2. That's true, but
4 is better than 0.
4 is better than 0, but it was
better than 3. It's not as good as 5 though.
And 7 also is better than 4.
7 is way better than 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but there's only one team in the East right now that's lighting it up. That's the Philadelphia Union.
Incredible, right? They're going to be so pissed when they lose to us in the playoffs again.
Like they are on a massive stretch, doing great right now, and it's just like now is not the time to be playing like this. You got to play like this in 2 months. Would you boys?
Even Jim Curtin was saying that, right? He was like, "Oh, I wish we would save some of these."
I know, but or it's going to keep on going. Right now, the two, right now as an MLS fan, I want to see Philly and LAFC go at each other. That's what I want to see.
Although LAFC lost to
up.
Austin. Yeah.
Confidently so, 4-1. 4-1, I think.
Yeah.
Austin's destroyed them.
Austin is real. Austin's for real this year.
Austin's very for real. And LAFC, for whatever reason, they just signed like 5 super players of the past month for God knows how. They pulled that off. So now they're stacked. So they were winning the league, and then they're like the best. They're like top of the table, and then they're like, "Oh, we're top of the table. Let's buy 5 DPs too, in addition to this. Let's get Chiellini and Gareth Bale." And then they got like Christian Tello, and they got some other DP forward, and then they got some other. It's just they kept adding all these players. And we're just like, "How are you guys doing? How is this working?"
Well, and it is a lot. It is a lot to manage. I mean, clearly there is some growing pains. It's not like more is always necessarily better. At some
No,
point,
I don't know. I was very curious
they have.
about that.
I mean, they have some of their old, like Latif Blessing is unhappy. We've heard, and
Kellen Costa, I think.
it always kind of upsets the balance a little bit.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But you know who can fix it? The mayor of Hanover himself, Steve Cherundolo. So I wish you the best of luck over there. But yeah, that's MLS is keeping it going. I saw the Columbus Cincinnati game over the weekend, which was a great game. But that's a real rivalry up there too. If it wasn't before, it is now. Because for the big thing over the weekend, I guess there's been a few news items, but a big thing is again VAR. So the news, Cincinnati was up 1-0 on I believe a goal from Brandon Vasquez, who just can't stop scoring.
Mm-hmm.
U.S. number 9s are scoring, by the way, just in general now.
Very much so. Yeah, there's now
except for Ricardo Pepi, but everybody else is still scoring. Yeah.
No, Pepi is not. I mean,
but Pepi started his first game this weekend. He actually played and played, I think, almost a full 90, unless they took him off at the end. So they are playing him. It's not like the other forwards in Augsburg are lighting up either. So he's getting his minutes. He's getting some minutes. Ricardo Pepi still is getting his opportunities.
Yeah, but he has dropped dramatically in the depth chart.
On the Nationals, Josh Sargent scoring again. We have Haji Wright in Turkey. We got Jordan Pefok, who's just like, you can't ignore me. I'm scoring. And Brandon Vasquez here in MLS, who
Jesus Ferreira is still in there.
Jesus Ferreira is still scoring and ripping apart. Yeah, so our number 9 is all of a sudden looking a little bit better, which is good because we deserve it. Our goalkeeping position is looking a little worse. Your boy Zach Steffen just got injured again. Doesn't even play at Middlesbrough right now, so we'll even make the roster. Who knows? But
Sean Johnson, baby.
Going back to Cincinnati, 1-0. Then Columbus Crew gets an equalizer. A great header from former New York Red Bull himself, Derek Etienne. And it looked pretty offside when it happened. And then they're like, well, this VAR should take it off. It was crossed in the box. Derek Etienne was quite lean behind the last man. Like it was one of those like pretty obvious offside calls. And then they thought it was going to take it off. Then the referee did this whole VAR thing. Hold on, we're holding. They spent 2 minutes holding. And then it was, no, he doesn't need to check it. Let's move on. And then it's like, wait, he doesn't need to check it. And then all of a sudden the replay shows in the stadium Tron, and he's just clearly offside, which is what we all saw originally. And the announcers were just like, yeah, that's offside. They looked at the replay too in the announcer booth, and everybody's like, yeah, that should probably be taken off. He's offside. I got to take that off. It goes one of those like it's a given. A VAR is going to take that off. Mm-hmm. And then the referee listens to Atlanta, our code, our Atlanta, our VAR, whatever, headquarters, and they say, no need. It's like, we don't see he's offside, move on. And then the ref just moves on. And everyone just boos. Like, what the heck? And then Cincy, under another New York former Red Bull, Matt Miazga, scored a go-ahead goal, thankfully, because Cincy was robbed. The goal should start. And the Crew got a late-minute equalizer as well. And it ended 2-2. But Pat Noonan, Cincinnati coach,
went nuts.
Rightfully upset. Because, like, at home, and we're all watching it, it's like, yo, that's offside. That's obviously offside. He's quite offside. It's like you see it. Before VAR, you should have called that because you can just see it live. And now with VAR, you should confirm it. So it goes back to our old adage. It's like, check every goal, man. Like, I don't know. I don't understand why they spent a minute looking at it. And the reasoning was in Atlanta, they had a different angle and it didn't look offside or something. It's like, well, on the TV angle and on the camera angles and all the angles we see, he's offside. And if you go on Twitter, people freeze frame it. It's like, yeah, the dude's offside. And then there's that Twitter account where they use trigonometry to calculate specifically how offside they are. He was offside, not by like a yard, like people are saying. He was offside by like I forgot what it was, but it was like a quarter of a foot or something like that, or maybe even just a couple inches or something. He was offside. That should have been called. They should have gone to the screen, looked at it, and said no goal. Like, what the heck? Why was that blown, man? The professional referee organization. That's on you, So
did they offer? I haven't followed this. Did they offer any?
Yes. they came back and said that our vantage point was different than your vantage point, and we Atlanta said they didn't have all the angles available that we had, or something crazy,
Yeah,
something
it was.
silly.
Yeah, I
And it's
mean,
just
it's
like,
been.
just watch the broadcast. How about that for an angle? I don't know, man. They just claim they didn't have the right camera angle to make the call to deem it clear and obvious. And if it's not clear and obvious, he can't go take a look at it, and they move on. And that's that dumb. That goes back to my whole dumb, clear and obvious nonsense. Get rid of that phrase. Just every goal, every big card moment, every big moment, go take a look. And then how about that?
Right.
Every goal, go take a look at the screen.
Well, I mean, they are supposed to do that. It's not like that's not
No, you're right. I think Atlanta did look at it, but then Atlanta said it's
But
fine,
then
move
they
on.
just
I'm
did
like, what the hell? What are you
yeah.
smoking?
I mean,
It's
this
not fine, move on.
this camera angle thing is puzzling.
Very
because
puzzling.
we had that happen with Tallis. You know, the Tallis PK earlier in the season where they you know, they couldn't they were missing, like, you know, something, it was cut off in a weird
Right.
way, and so they couldn't cut, like, it's just, you know, like, it's 2022, man, like,
Right.
just the
Get a bunch of
camera
old
angle
iPhones in
is
your
not
stadium.
it's not
Like,
it's not that's just crazy. I mean,
there should be angles available. Yeah. It just frustrates me. You know, the refs. And I know it's obviously a hard job, but it's the job. It's the job. It's not
right.
just
I
doing
mean,
anything else. So
the controversy exists everywhere. You have in the Premier League in
Right,
England. I mean, in Bundesliga.
not
you know,
often though. In the Bundesliga though.
the
No, I
Bundesliga.
mean,
Oh no, I read a big article this week, and there was also controversy about how VAR is implemented, and everybody has issues. In
Right.
England, in England, it's in a way almost the least effective, in my opinion,
Right.
because there is a lot of emphasis on the high bar. You know, this clear and obvious. It's like it's not like, oh, do we get the decision right? It's more
Right.
like, how big of a mistake is it? Is
Right.
this worth? And that's, yeah, I agree with you.
And to me, that's a false.
It's just do, if you're going to review it anyway, then just do make the correct call, and then but then, you know, there's always some gray area. We had this there was this anyway, you can always find examples. But yeah, it's in MLS. What's especially frustrating is there's often this sort of lack of technology is cited. You know, oh, we didn't have enough angles, or we were missing, and that just, I think, is unacceptable. It's like,
that's like handing in homework. I'd be like, sorry,
like,
my internet was down, so I couldn't look up
see.
the subject matter.
Yeah,
Here you go.
I left my glass. I didn't have my glasses on, so it was hard.
Yeah, it's like you're not allowed to. You get left for that. So like, you know, it's like a disappointed parent. We should take MLS and be like, is this the best you can do?
Yes.
No,
we're not mad. We're just disappointed.
Yeah. Is this the best you can do? Is this the kind of quality you want to be
Are
synonymous with your name?
Are you happy with your work here, MLS?
MLS, are you happy with your work?
You feeling good about this?
Feel good about this, because it's also like at the stadium, like it was even on the Tron, and everyone's like, look up, and the referee didn't look up. It's like, it's just one of those things where it's like very obvious.
Yeah.
Speaking of clear and obvious, I know you don't want to be pressured by the home fans, obviously. However, if everyone's really clamoring for it, and as a ref, even to appease them, just go to the screen, look at it really closely, and then enforce your own decision as a way to be like, I did double check for you guys. It's confirmed. You know what I mean? Like the defiance to be like, no, my initial call was right, and I'm not going to go check. I don't care how many. I don't care if all 20,000 of you are yelling that I'm wrong. I don't care about the Tron. The rules are we move on. You know, or again, the whole point is like, just do the decision right. You know, go take a look, and the tool is there to help you out, and just. It's worth it to double check, especially in large moments like goals and red cards, things like that. So that's my thing. I'll never not say that. That's my whole VAR spiel. And that is MLS. It just keeps on going.
Yeah.
Do you have any last thoughts on the American soccer experience?
On the American soccer experience in the league? Yeah, it's all very tight. I wish my team was a little better these days.
We're doing
The two-
fine.
the
All I
two-
want, I would love for us to. I'm talking New York Red Bulls. I just want us to finish top 4 this year and host a playoff game. We always make the playoffs, but the last few years we've come in at like 5th
You're
and
looking
6th
good.
and 7th.
You're looking good for that. You're looking good for that. Although now a tough road game next.
Yeah, we have
on the road to Montreal.
I think we have 6 or 7 games left. I think 6 games left. So it's coming in the crunch. It's coming in the crunch time.
We're playing DC United at home.
Oh, that's a gimme, right? You think?
You know, we lost last time at Red Bull Arena. We lost to Charlotte at home. That I thought that would probably go better as well. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right. My friend Yoni was randomly at the Charlotte game this weekend. He's had a great stadium experience with the team. Stank it up. And I told him, you know what, Charlotte's doing better this year than I assumed they would be. So
I did too. I agree. I definitely. We thought they were going to really struggle, and they've been doing pretty well.
But yeah, Red Bull's heading up to Montreal on Wednesday. That's definitely a tough game. Montreal second place in the East, having a great year. Then we host the Freight Train of the Philly Union the weekend after that, and Philly's been doing it. We'll try not to do a 6-0. Then we host Bruce Arena, the New England Revolution, and then we have the NYCFC Derby, the New York Derby.
Oh, we're doing that again. Wow, okay.
And then we're heading to Columbus. Then we host Charlotte. So the only of these 6 games, all of them are tough. You know, hosting Charlotte maybe is a little respite there at the end, but like these other 5 games are no joke. We're really challenged here. Yeah.
We'll see. Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
You want to tell your Mexico tale before we?
We can. We'll talk about. So you did some trips. You went to Florida. You went to Tampa Bay. You went to Orlando. I took a little road trip myself this past week. I went down to Tijuana, Mexico, to watch a Club Tijuana game, to watch a Mexican League game. I'd never been to a Liga MX game, and I had a blast. It was crazy going down there. I got a hotel in San Diego, and I walked across the border, and it was fun and very accessible, and Tijuana was lovely. I'd never been there before, and I definitely want to go back and explore it further. I took a cab out to the stadium, Estadio Caliente, and Club Tijuana is a relatively new team. It's essentially like a Mexican expansion team. It's like 5 years old, I think, or maybe a little more. But like, Caliente is a casino, so there's a giant casino, and right next to the casino is the stadium that they're still building. It's still half under construction, and then next to that is like a fancy strip mall, with Walmart in it. It's like the hippest Walmart I've ever been. Like plays music. There's a Walmart and Applebee's and Carl's Jr. or Hardee's if you're in the South. You know, there's like a whole like development, very American style development there. But anyway, I go to the game, and right outside, it's this big, beautiful red stadium, and the Xolos. Xolos, I believe, is a dog. Dog is their mascot. It's a giant inflatable dog head you walk into to go in the stadium. And there's all these like little radio stations and booths with all these brand ambassadors, all these ladies. There's like 3 or 4 ladies per every brand there in their shorts and their shirt and like their makeup. Be like, yay, the Telcel or whatever, like this cell phone company or Coca-Cola or this radio station. Like all these brands and stuff. And a bunch of kids playing games. You know the game where you kick the ball in the hole and you get a prize or whatever.
Yeah. So
there's a whole like carnival atmosphere. Then you go into the stadium.
Torbahnschießen.
Yeah, they did all that. And you go in the stadium. And then it was turf. Isn't that crazy?
Oh.
It was turf. I sat down. I'm like, I didn't know anybody. I think this is turf. And later looked it up. It was turf. The field looked just like the Atlanta field. Dark green, but like shiny off the light, like almost like, like a carpet almost. So it was a turf field.
Even the rowdies play on actual grass.
I know. I was very surprised by that. I figured in Mexico they would maybe have that be a rule or something. But I looked it up. It turns out that just with the weather or there's hot springs underneath the ground, it's hard to maintain natural grass or whatever. And the stadium itself is very pretty, but it's under construction. So there were certain sections that were like it was very pretty, but how do I describe this? There were like a lot of unfinished, unpaved parts. And like the beer tent was just like a Tecate tent they put up there because I'm sure they're about to build real concession spots. And the whole lower bowl was ready, but the upper bowl is only about half done. So one side of the stadium is just right in the middle of construction. just like a construction site. And then where I was on the side above me. It's like the concrete part is done, but they didn't put any seats in yet or anything. So they're like playing and actively while they're still building it. And right when the stadium was over, they like closed part of it. Right when the game was over, they closed part of the stadium. I think when they went to work, like the workers worked overnight or something. The concessions game was on point. Like there were just millions of people. Sorry, not millions, but lots of people with different millions of people. Everyone with like chips, churros, nachos, whatever you want. Different people walking around the whole game. Hey, what this, what that, blah, blah, blah. And then there were people from Carl's Jr. and like a pizza place taking orders and stuff. Like it was the options. Orders. Yeah. Like there was a guy with a Carl's Jr. sign going around, and you could probably like poke to him and like go get a burger from him or whatever. Like the food game was on point. And my seat, front row. Say that again.
The Rowdies do not do that. There's no seat service.
And then, oh man, it was amazing. They had, and then I ordered a beer, right? So I go get cash. Everything's cash only though. So I go got cash, went in, ordered a beer, and then they take 2 Tecates. You can order whatever you want. They have a whole bunch, Modelo, whatever. They take 2 Tecates, open both of them, put both of them in a cup, hand them to you, $4. $4 for a double beer. And I sat front row center, like side field, like premium seats. I think it cost me $24.
Amazing.
Let's see. So a really great, cheap experience. And what surprised me was like there was a halftime show, and then there was a guy in a dog outfit driving around on a motorcycle, and there was lights. And then they're called the Cholos, so it's a dog. Every 3 seconds they played "Who Let the Dogs Out?" Who in the stadium, and then they kept playing recordings of their fans cheering. Like it was just very, very PAAV heavy.
Oh,
you know, and you just wouldn't think about that. You know, like I've been to a Bundesliga game, an EPL game, a La Liga game.
We think of Mexican soccer as like super authentic, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And granted, that probably still is the case. Most, but this is like an expansion team. It's in Tijuana. It's owned by a casino. During the game on the Tron, they had these like casino games going on, and been like they interviewed people. It was like a college football game almost, where it was just a lot was going on. A lot was going on, and I wasn't expecting that. Especially just going to Latin America to a soccer game. You think just show up, game goes, and then you're done.
That's it. You know? Yeah, eat a sausage, go home.
Eat a sausage, go home. And Club Tijuana is like, no, we have a whole thing going on. And then afterwards in the parking lot, they had a big mariachi band playing. Everyone was dancing and celebrating, and it was like a lot of fun. It was a blast.
What was the game like?
The game was Club Tijuana was rough. Like it was Club Tijuana versus Santos Laguna, and Santos Laguna won 2-0. Pretty confident 2-0. Club Tijuana did not have much to offer, unfortunately. And I think in the standings, it's very similar. They have a regular season and playoffs. I think Club Tijuana is a couple spots out of the playoffs right now. I think of the. Let me look this up right now. Actually, I'm going to speak of it, but I have the internet in front of me, and then one of their number 10. Some of their players were clearly frustrated, not really playing well together, and the fans let them know. Like they kept yelling at this number 10 they didn't like. They're like, get off your butt or whatever. Liga Max. But the game was fun. Like it was, the Mexican clubs are bigger and better and have deeper rosters. And it was a fun game. Club Tijuana is 11th out of 18th. So they're right in a playoff spot. And Santos Laguna is 3rd, behind only Monterrey and Club America. So Santos Laguna is one of the better teams this year. But it is a little bit different. They're given space. They don't hop on each other's knees all the time. Sorry, I'm a little congested. They don't like they give each other space to move around. Like the Gegenpressing, the high speed counter press, you didn't see any.
It's not happening.
They had space. They moved the ball around. It was pretty back and forth, which was nice. They do a lot of they kick from outside the box often. They go for goal pretty aggressively. A very what you think of like a Mexican style of play, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Was it like a high? Did it seem much faster and more intense than MLS game? Not really. Yeah, maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit, but like as a guy who goes to a lot of LAFC LA Galaxy games, the quality of the field didn't
Similar.
seem this seemed similar. But then again, this is just some random league game. On average, the League MX game, I think, still like a Club America Monterey game probably has a lot more to offer than
Right.
what I was watching. But overall, it was a lot of fun, great experience, and I would do it again. I would do it again.
Awesome.
And you know what they played in halftime? They took all the lights, it got red, and they played Rammstein.
Oh, you felt right at
Engel.
home.
Yeah. So it was nice. Good to see a little Germany going on.
Have
Rammstein,
you
big
been to
hits
that
down
show?
in
Have you been to
Mexico.
that show yet? That's coming up.
No,
right?
it's coming up. It's coming up in a couple weeks. I'm talking about it forever, but I'm going to Rammstein. And it's cool that they play them in the stadium. And it was just a lot of fun. I love it, and I want to go again. And I'm glad to have expanded my repertoire. I've now been to a Mexican soccer league game.
Amazing.
And next time you're in LA, we'll take a trip down there and we'll go.
Sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a ticket to go to Monterey to see Tigres play NYCFC, but then this weird pandemic thing happened. I don't know if you heard about it.
No. A pandemic?
You're
talking about the monkeypox thing?
Stuff got canceled.
You talking about polio?
Polio?
What are you talking about?
The previous one.
You're talking about Spanish flu.
Things
Wow,
got canceled. Yeah. Anyway, that right. So yeah, I would like to. I would like to go. I'm still hoping at some point to follow NYCFC to Mexico for a Champions League game. I don't know. We'll see when that. We'll see if and when. It's not looking so good this year for us to qualify, but we'll see.
But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun.
You want to?
Lastly, you want to touch on Bundesliga real quick?
Yeah, you have to get out of here. I know, but we can. But our claims of the Bundesliga season being over were perhaps a little dramatic and exaggerated.
I don't know about that.
The table looks much different. The table looks much different this week.
No, Bayern Munich is still on top. Doesn't look that much different.
But no longer with this overwhelming. They are tied on points with Union Berlin, and then after, it's just the contenders are not the contenders that we thought. Union Berlin all of a sudden is up there. SC Freiburg is up there. Hoffenheim.
Union Berlin, it's up to you, my friend. Yeah, it's tight. It's Bayern and Union Berlin with 10, Freiburg, Hoffenheim, and Dortmund with 9. So Dortmund and Bayern are still only a point off, thankfully. Gladbach with 8. So Gladbach was able to take 2 points off mighty Bayern this week.
Well,
that's sort of
Jan Sommer was able. 19 saves. I think the previous record is 15 in the Bundesliga. It was just an incredible. We wish we could say that Gladbach rose to the challenge and is now a contender. But I mean, not really. It was like Bayern should have won that game by a lot. It was just Jan Sommer. They missed a bunch of poor finishing, and Jan Sommer just absolutely crushing it. And
great goalkeeper. Always loved Jan Sommer. Cut over to another great goalkeeper, Kevin Trapp. Turned down a big offer to go to the Prem. I think. Yeah. Who was sniffing? Was it? I think Manchester United even.
Man United, yeah. Man United are looking for backup. They finally let Dean Henderson go, who was a good backup. He's now playing for Nottingham Forest, keeping Ethan Horvath on the bench, and
sending Ethan Horvath to Luton Town as he's on the loan.
Oh, that's right.
He's in the championship. Him and Zach Stafford playing the championship this year. Americans crushing the championship this year. Get some good playing time for the World Cup, which is good for them.
Yeah.
But Kevin Trapp and Frankfurt took on Werder Bremen in their triumphant return to the Bundesliga in a crazy, fun, wild 4-3 game. Mario Götze opened the scoring. A couple of really cool out of the box style goals. And then it was a crazy back and forth game, really exciting. But given on for Frankfurt to get the 3 points, winning 4-3.
Dortmund won at Hertha, but still does not look
not convincing. But Anthony Modeste finally got on the score sheet, so they could leave him alone for a bit. He was like a last minute kind of panic signing, and right away, like, how come he's not scoring? Was he a good side? Is a bad side? Blah blah blah. And they're really hopping on him. It's like, give him some time. I mean, they're great.
He needs some minutes.
He scored. No. We talked earlier. Ricardo Pepi started this week, his first start of the season. He didn't really score. Augsburg lost lost as they
Lost
are
to Hoffenheim, yeah.
rough season. Bochum continues to be the worst team
Bochum
in the league right now.
Yeah,
0
it's
points,
gonna,
negative 10 goal difference.
Going to be a tough season. It was a much improved performance, has to be said. It's hit the woodwork. It was a wild game. I don't know. It was just back and forth, a lot of chances. I think 4 times, 2 on each side, they hit teams hit the post. And yeah, Freiburg had a long range lob that just went over the goal. I mean, there was just there's a lot going on, and the only goal scored was on a penalty kick that Manuel Riemann saved twice and only went in on the 3rd try. And so, yeah, I'm a little unfortunate. I mean, definitely, it seems like they're not throwing in the towel. The defense is the new look back line is still struggling, but maybe improving a little bit. There were still a lot of individual mistakes that, in this case, were not punished immediately. It was a little lucky early in the game that Freiburg didn't score, but then as it went, Bochum they are improving. But yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of, like I said before, I don't have a lot of hope for this.
Well, the World Cup's coming up. Maybe they go shopping and they can buy all the best players of the World Cup. And
they're not. There is something going on behind the scenes in Bochum, and I'm not. I don't live there anymore. I'm not super clued in, but there is something. Sebastian Schinzelords, who is the manager, the technical director, whatever his title is, who put the team together. He's leaving. Okay. Now, Thomas Reis kind of went public a week ago saying that, his contract negotiations have stalled. And, he's like, as of now, he's unemployed. He was kind of saying, yeah, as of now, end of the season, I'm unemployed. And
that's crazy.
And so, I don't know. Something's going wrong there. I think between
something's rotten in the States
between the people in charge and the it seems like these guys, Schinzelords and Thomas Reis, definitely they should just they definitely deserve a raise. I'm sure. After not only getting into the Bundesliga but also then really surviving, surviving in style. And it seems like there is some discrepancy as to how much they're valued, and I think that's not a good sign. This is not a good sign for this team that doesn't have a lot of money, and so they need to at least treat their people well. I think.
Well, Union Berlin are offering a masterclass on how to you not only get in the top flight but stay in the top flight. Like that's an art form in of itself, like league level management. Like if you're an elevated club, that's got to wreak havoc on your finances. It's just so unstable. So to get into the top flight, making choices to stay in the top flight is very risky, I guess. And Union Berlin is just an absolute masterclass on that, going from a small club to not just a top flight club, but like a contender top flight club. Yeah, and for a club like Bochum, they had a good year, and then they're like, all right. So you'd think to make choices to stay, you'd go out and you'd be creative and you'd sign a couple players, a little more firepower, but they're the opposite. They're like, well, let's get rid of some of our tools and wish for the best. It's like you're just choosing to go right back to the second division, aren't you? Yeah.
If you have those kinds of budgets, everything has to go right. And last year, everything did go right, and now this year, a lot of people left and have not been replaced. I mean, Armel Bella Kotchap, I now watch Southampton a lot in the Premier League, and he's been great. He had an assist last week. He played really, really well. I'm surprised that he's even an immediate starter. But he
went from Bochum to Southampton.
He went from Bochum to Southampton in the Prem and is really doing great. And I think, he's still a young guy. He's 20, so he is really an up and coming. And I think sooner or later, not for this World Cup, but I think for the next cycle, he's got to be a contender for the national team at center back. I think he's looking really, really promising. But Southampton's gain is our loss. He is the replacements are struggling. The center backs are not great, and so that's a real problem. If the defense is not solid, because offensively, even last season, there was often there was a lot of luck involved, and you hope for the best. But if the defense has to be solid, and it's not, and so that's going to be a problem. And so if that doesn't turn around very quickly, then it's going to get late early in the woods.
Get late early.
Yeah.
For both. By Leverkusen, who had a terrible start, they finally had a confident 3-0 win over the weekend, their first win of the season.
Yeah.
Look at Bayer Leverkusen, who's one of those teams that's like supposed to be up there. So they're maybe starting a little late as well. But good on them for Bayer. Maybe they figured it out. Who knows? Maybe it was a fluke. Who knows? We'll see. But as of right now, the Bundesliga is still relatively tight at the top. And Dortmund and Bayern are only a point off for their Klassiker, whatever that may be. So, good on him. Get in there, Union Berlin. Keep it up. Keep it up, PFOC. Your goals and your assists. Again, just a seamless transfer.
Whatever your name is.
Or whatever. See about you. Again, they signed some dude from Switzerland, some American international Switzerland, and he's just plugged right in and started scoring and assisting. It's just working over there.
Very good.
So good on him. Excellent. Do you have any other things you would like to say?
Good. I know you have to get out of here. I'm going.
You're tired, I'm sure.
I'm sleepy. Next week I will report from my Grand Canyon adventures. Hopefully, if all goes well.
Yeah, that'll be fun, and hopefully you'll be alive. And yeah,
that'll be good. Yeah.
No, I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about the Grand Canyon, the great Grand Canyon. Very cool. All right, that was this week in the German American Fußball Experience. We're your host Stefan Schnitzel, the Schnitzel Boys. Like and subscribe, tell your friends and fans. We're all about